I'm going to be talking about, you know, some random shit. Actually, no, I'm going to be talking about why Linux is my like Linux. Now, for example, as you guys can tell, this is not your regular Linux distro. This is Arco Linux. Actually, if I go to here and close that one out, this is Arco Linux with the window manager BSPWM installed. Now, with Arco, it actually customizes it to good amounts, actually. It's actually a pretty good amount that it customizes it to for, you to use. It's actually fine to use. I actually haven't touched it since because of the fact that, I mean, it's fine. I don't mind it. I mean, it's fine. So, let's go on with the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to this. So, yeah, let's get into the video. Number one, the terminal. The terminal is one of my favorite things in Linux and one of my favorite things to do at all. Because of the fact of how basically powerful it is. Like, I mean, it's your tool for a lot of jobs. It is your backup in the event that your display manager does not work, your window manager, or your desktop environment just does not start properly. I myself really love this thing because the fact that a lot of my shit works on it a lot, and it's more than just more of a just a terminal emulator. You can do a lot. For example, you can make scripts using Vim. You can do more using NeoFetch. You can see stuff. You can see how your system is running. Other stuff. You can use different shells. You could install stuff. Now, I actually have an alias, so basically you do sudo pacman-s, and then that would be what you need to install. Now, this is actually a pretty good thing to do because it actually, and that's another thing I'm going to talk about later, but a lot of these commands, after a while, you will get pretty easy to learn. Now, since I actually use a desktop environment, I actually have to do, not desktop environment, window manager, I actually have to do a lot of keybinds. I would actually open up programs, and actually use them properly. So yeah, that's a little bit of a funny thing to do. So yeah, hey, let's go on to number 1.5. The commands. Now, I myself really fucking love commands in general, and it's more or less just actually doing stuff. And this is including installing programs. I've actually touched a lot about installing programs here, and actually with a lot of other commands. For example, with me, I use an alt-based issue, which means I actually do sudo pacman-s, and or the AUR, or if you guys want to know, the link to that is the AUR.archlinux.org. Now, these two are very different things. So right here, the terminal basis sudo pacman-s is to install official repos that have actually been supported and maintained by stuff. Now, the AUR is community made, which means these are basically community made scripts to compile and make something and actually install it into your system. These two are very similar in a lot of ways, but they are very different with how they work and how you're supposed to do stuff. Now, you can actually ease up on how to do this stuff using Yay. So Yay is actually a Arch Linux user repository manager. So it actually installs stuff from Arch, the AUR. For example, if I type in, AUR, if I type in, I have mine as set to INSY, so I don't have to type in Yay-S to multi-MC5. This is not in the official repos. So right there, so if I have to go to multi-MC5, here, I'm using that as an example, I don't know what else to use. Right there, this is the same package, this is the same PKG build. These are actually, someone actually had created this, and so contributes stuff to it, so it actually just builds it, patches it, and does a lot of stuff. It actually installs all the dependencies and everything else that it needs to have before it actually makes it and compiles it. So, that's one thing I actually like about Linux. Because on Windows, it's actually a lot more harder to do. For example, so let's go to number 3. a community. I myself fucking love this community. I love it a lot more. I love it a lot. Okay, now we're gonna talk about a lot with Arch Linux here since I've been using it the most and I've used it for the longest time. Than any other repo. Okay, so Arch-based distros I have a tremendous amount of usage with, but I cannot say the same with other distros like Debian distros and more. So, actually, the Arch Linux wiki. I fucking love this shit. It is probably one of the most maintained and best wikis out there for Linux. Hold up. Like I was trying to say was that this has a lot of stuff to fix. So if you actually fully read through a wiki of a particular app, you will find a lot of stuff about it and learn a lot more. It actually holds a lot of information. And if you were to read through a lot of this stuff, you'll be able to fix almost every issue that you have. And guess what? It will always have. Sometimes some wikis don't have enough expansion, and if after a while you get to understand something, guess what you can do? You can just update this, and yeah, that's one thing. Next thing you know is how open and how kind of welcoming the community is. So you guys know the fact that the source code for the kernel of Linux is available. So if you go to the GitHub, but anyways, a lot of apps on here are very much open source, so almost every app you can probably install, except for Steam, Discord, and probably other stuff too, is more or less open source on Linux. Almost every app you install is open source, which means it helps with a lot of stuff. Now, it could help with for not having any issues or finding any bugs throughout the software because of the fact of how open it is. Because one thing I don't think a lot of people get is that when it's open source, sometimes it's more easier to find bugs because you have a lot more people working on something and want to see it strive more than just a closed source thing. It can take almost minutes, hours, days, even weeks, or even months, or even fucking years. I know I kind of like stutter a lot, so please forgive me on that. I'm still trying to learn how to talk after my surgery, so please forgive me on that. So yeah, that was just one of the things we're going to talk about with that part. But want to get onto the welcoming part. This community is very, very welcoming. Because as soon as you look up an issue and you even make a forum or something, they will help you out. They're not gonna be assholes about it. Yes, there may be some people out there who are really gonna do that, but the rest are fucking fine. They are not going out there to ruin people's day because you came to this place as a way to learn something about how OS works because it's kind of a learning tool. And yes, you could use it as your main OS, which I kind of do a lot, and yeah, but it's more welcoming. I like how welcoming it is because it can actually help beginners go in. Oh, I had an error, copy it, paste it in here, and then what I'm actually going to do is type in the distro, type in the distro you have or what it's based off of, and paste your error, or you paste your error here and then type in Arch or Linux or your distro, your distro that it's based on. For example, you may be like OpenSUSE. It probably will help you out with finding a lot more issues faster. It actually has with me, so I recommend if you guys have any issues with Arch Linux, you do that instead. Okay, so we're getting to the later part of the video that I actually am going to have to really take a while to understand, but yeah. So the next thing I want to talk about is basically how much. I know some guys probably wanted me to talk about this, but it's game. How is gaming on Linux? Gaming on Linux is the best it could ever be. So with the introduction of Proton and Proton 6.3.5, it has helped a lot, and I mean a lot of games fucking strive. One thing I wanted to tell you guys about is this game you're seeing in the background right now was built. Is actually running on Proton right now. This is gameplay of it, and yeah, it runs fine. I believe this is also a native Linux game. I don't remember at the time we're recording this, and yeah, so this game is actually pretty fun, but also it gets to show you how good the performance can be. If you can find multiplayer games that just don't have an anti-cheat or have a Linux compatible anti-cheat, then it's fine. Single player games always work. I don't know why it wouldn't, but VR games, that's a little bit more iffy. you need to have either a Valve Index or an HTC headset for that to work. No Oculus. That's very, very hard to actually use instead of, I still can't even get Oculus Link to work on VR on Linux, so that's one sad thing I wish that would come to Linux, I hope. At least I hope one day it will. So yeah, that's the game that you see in the background. It's on Linux. Let's go. Also, guys, you don't know what Proton is. It's built on Wine and DVXK, and DVXK is another type of a open source project that Valve Software has released. Now, if I actually go to the Proton, right here, this is the code. This is the actual code, and actually go to Valve Software, you can actually find, Steam for Linux. Actually, that's actually open source and more. So you have OpenVR, like that. Proton DXVK. I keep forgetting that. My fault. Anyways, let's continue on. But gaming on Linux is actually pretty good. So basically, how you would do this, I actually would recommend to turn on your headset because there's actually a really real bug with this on Steam. So I type in, Steam, we'll launch Steam. Okay. Basically, what you do. So you would log in on Steam, settings up here. Go open this menu, on Steam Play, and click on enable Steam Play for all the titles, and click this. Click on the latest version. Don't go experimental because you may have some more bug experiences. Hit OK. It will tell you to restart your system, and then you go from there. Now, I myself, like I said, I don't feel like showing it because it's actually a real bug. I'll show you guys that later. It's hilarious, but yeah. And actually, what I'm happy about is that if the Steam Link actually pulls it off, you guys do not know you cannot play multiplayer games with Linux. Unfortunately, they are trying to figure out a way to do that. Valve Software is actually working with Easy Anti-Cheat, Battlelog, and a lot of other anti-cheat, companies to actually work to help and fix that issue. So if they pull it off, Linux gaming is going to be a viable option now. So yeah, just want to say that. One thing I've actually noticed is that two things. Sometimes you actually will get more performance than you actually would on Windows. That's just a real thing I saw. Remember, Wine is actually not an emulator. None of this stuff is an emulator. It just transfers these calls. It's kind of like a translator. Okay. Let's say Windows is like speaking like German, and your Linux speaks English. Okay. Yeah. They both are similar, but not in a lot of, not fully. So you would have a translator for them to talk to each other. Now, what Proton does is it takes all those calls and transform them all into Vulkan and POSX compliant calls. Same with Wine. Wine actually translates into POSX compliant calls. Now, if you guys want to know how a game works on Proton, go to this website, proton.db, and I will leave it in the description below, and you can see what kind of games work with it and how many you actually do. A few games actually don't work, so the one that actually don't is actually multiplayer games. That's like the only ones that actually don't do. But if you launch a multiplayer game without anti-cheat, like Halo MCC, you're fine. For example, let's look up, Rocket. Oh, sorry, Rocket League. Yeah. So here, so this is native. So I actually played this. It's actually pretty fun. I actually got more performance on here than I actually would on Linux. I actually probably would have gotten more. Actually, got more frames and more performance than I actually would on Windows. It's actually the way you have to install it is very weird. But if you guys want Arch Linux, you probably can install it from the Arch AUI. But yeah. So you can see right here, actually, let's close that. You can tell over here, so you see, the person who's doing this, what they rate it as, and more or less, what kind of stuff are they running. For example, with this one, it's using Gurita Linux, which is an Arch-based distro, the GPU, the GPU driver, and the CPU, and what, so like that. So it also shows what kind of Proton version it's running. So it works out of the box fine. So actually, since it's open source, there's actually multiple kinds of a Proton. There's Proton Glorious Eggs, I believe. Now, if you look up Rust, Grand Theft Auto, you can see with these games because of the fact of see which ones don't work. For example, the ones that don't have anti-cheat, or at least will allow you to have that one with anti-cheat, work fine. For example, Rust, I actually play this game with anti-cheat. It works fine. But we actually have to, if you're like on, for example, on Rust, you actually have to connect to special anti-cheat, non-anti-cheat servers too. But Apex Legends is just blocked. That's actually, it just won't start. But if I actually go back to the start page, Rainbow Six Siege actually can work sometimes. I actually gotten up to the menu, but menu is actually fine right here. Valve is trying to fix anti-cheat support before the Steam Deck launches. By the time the Steam Deck launches, this is not gonna be an issue anymore. Can't wait for that. Then we talked. I know I spent a lot of time talking about gaming on Linux, stuff like that. But how is productivity or developing? I guess you can say developing. I'm actually gonna stick with programming since I know that the most. I would not understand or would help. I actually don't know how it is to write documents like that on Linux since I don't really use those kind of programs. I mean, I myself wouldn't know that, so you would have to go and find other people's opinions on that since I myself don't use those. Anyways, let's get on. Oh fuck, I didn't know I was going. Damn it. Okay, I can't tell. Anyways, so programming on Linux is actually way more better than it is on Windows. For example, if you guys work with C++ or a lot of compiled languages, a lot of the stuff that you use for your compilers is actually automatically installed. GCC, G++, Clang, and more are installed by default. These can actually help because I use G++ and GCC since I work with C. For example, if I go over to here, I actually typed this out on an earlier scrapped video. I could just type in here, if I type in gcc.maincp, or as I like to do -o, main. Up here you can see the file gets added, and you type in // and then main. You run the file. So what? See, easy. On Windows, it's a little bit of a different story. It's actually very hard to set up since you have to go up to here, min, gw. Download the one, then yeah, it's annoying. I know. I actually would recommend if you guys use C or any C++, I actually recommend using Linux to develop since it's actually a lot easier to do, and the fact that native support comes right out of the box. I think you guys have understood that with other Linux YouTubers, you've seen them actually use, you see them not use Visual Studio Code. You see them use Emacs or Max. Use Emacs or Vim or NeoVim. I'm sorry, I don't know that's all. Or other kinds of just terminal editors. Now, I actually want to say something. I actually like Vim. I myself like Vim a lot. It is one of the best terminal emulators for Linux. I actually like it a lot more than Nano, which, if you guys have used Nano before, yeah, that thing sucks. I could type in, sin. Oh. I keep forgetting how to do this. Next one. Oh. I still don't know. True. I don't know what it is. But anyways, it is one of the best for this. I actually like it a lot more than Nano because of the fact that instead of doing these weird control and commands, you can actually just do these colon commands, which actually is probably much more better because you have different types of editing. You have the normal mode, which you can move around with each. First of all, if I actually go into this, cd my repos. So let me do my main. I'm going to here so I can show you this. So you see right here I have my file. So how I edit this so that I can move down with H, J, K, and L. So J goes down, K goes up, H goes to the left, L goes to the right. See it there? H, L, J, K. Now, see, I can't type. Oh. Oops, that was before I actually, Okay. Anyways, what would happen is that basically what you would do is hit A or I to insert, and then you would type in your stuff. Include, C math. I'm just use it as a basic example. Now you have to write to it, so you can find to the file, and then go from there. So that's how you would do it. Now there's a lot of little tips and tricks on how to replace in Vim. It's actually pretty easy. So you can actually look up a lot of stuff on actually how to use Vim, and I recommend using this a lot because of how easy it is to use in a lot of ways. So how you would quit is you :Q. Now sometimes you may need to do :Q with exclamation mark or :QWNQ. I actually do that instead. So yeah, it's actually pretty good. I go back to here. I type in I think it was all that I hit. Nope. It's E. So A will always move you past your letter. For example, if I'm an H, I hit A. It would actually put me on, the letter in ingress sometimes, but I could actually still edit that file. You gotta actually know how editing works on, Linux or other stuff. You guys would understand that. Just want to say, you probably could type out text files, but yeah. Maybe well, this looks very basic and I don't know how to use it. Well, and I don't know if I can type all my stuff out, having my special IntelliSense, stuff like that. Well, there was something called Vim plugins which I could get into and now talk out for a huge amount of time. But I think I've already talked about this for enough, so I'm gonna cut off this part of the conversation for right now. So let's go on to the next one, customization. Now, I know I should have touched on this in the past of this video, but I kind of went on a lot. But anyways, customization in this system is amazing. With every Linux distro, you can customize something to however you want it. For example, I myself, so this right here is already customized. So basically, this is how I actually would understand how to customize Linux. Go to reddit.com/uexplore. I actually recommend this part because it shows you what you can do with Unix-based stuff. It shows you how you can customize. It can give you an idea of what can be customized, from the boot all the way up to how it works internally. If you feel like doing that, for example, I know I'm probably saying, but this is someone's desktop with not. It's just distro, whatever it's called. This is all with someone's, idea. It's like that. Yes, all this stuff looks amazing. Even this one right here, that was the only time I actually appreciate Light Mode. All this stuff looks pretty nice. And the more I keep going down here, it can show you a lot about how something can be customized, and show you how it's on, desktop environment or window manager can be customized. For example, DWM, OpenBox, Cinnamon, BSPWM, more. You can always tell which one it is by going up to here where it says Fluxbox and stuff like that. Now, if you want to edit how it boosts and how stuff like that, that would be a thing for another time, since it's that one's a little bit more hard to do. But anyways, let's go on to the next one. So yeah, anyways guys, I probably talked on it for long enough, and I'll probably make a part 2 of this video. But just to make sure you get clear, Linux is actually a pretty great thing to do. And if you guys feel like actually learning it, I can give you guys some tools and how to do it later on. I'll actually make a video about on how to install Linux and how to set it up. But you guys, if you guys feel like trying out, download Linux on a USB, put the ISO on that USB, and launch it up into your computer. You don't have to install it. You can try it out from a USB without having to install it, which is the best thing. Since it's customizable, you can try whatever you want with it, and since it's basically disconnected from a lot of stuff, you can do whatever you want on it. It's actually a very great learning tool for how an OS works, especially another OS like Linux. It can teach you a lot about how some of the stuff works, and can give you more knowledge about how things work. If you guys want me to make another video about these kinds of topics, please let me know in the description below so I can keep making more videos about this. I can set up tutorials and stuff like that if you guys really want me to. But yeah. Anyways, well, hope you guys have a great day, and goodbye. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk more about Linux soon. So yeah, bye.